day Martin Luther King Jr. gave his landmark I Have a Dream speech in 1963, a lesser-known moment in civil rights history was unfolding in southern Georgia. 15 girls between the ages of 12 and 15 were held in the Leesburg Stockade, a makeshift jail set up by local law enforcement in Leesburg, Georgia, for the crime of demonstrating for integration in the Deep South. For weeks, their parents didn't know where they were or if they were even alive. In the fall of 1963, a small march made up of mostly teenage girls approached downtown Americus for a peaceful march in front of their segregated movie theater. Sheriff Fred Chappelle and his men intercepted these children on the streets with police dogs, Klansmen, and men waiting and ready with fire hoses. When Sheriff Chappelle ordered the young protesters to disperse, they responded by kneeling down on the sidewalk to pray. As the children prayed, the mob attacked, with law enforcement using clubs to beat them. High-pressure water from the fire hoses was used to push them off the streets. Children as young as 12 were beaten and bloodied by the time approximately 35 of them were arrested for marching and demonstrating for integration. Of the 35, the 15 stolen girls were never formally charged and were denied due process, which meant as far as the system was concerned, there was no record of where they were. Their parents were distraught as they waited and desperately tried to get answers. Once parents began to learn of their children's arrest, they were initially told that the girls were taken to the Dawson jail, about 25 miles from Americus, due to the overflow of protesters jailed in Sumter County. The girls did spend one night in the Dawson jail, but the next day, Sheriff Chappelle ordered that the 15 girls be transported to the old Leesburg Stockade in neighboring Lee County. The stockade had been used to imprison soldiers during the Civil War, but in 1963, it was the Leesburg Public Works building. The 15 girls were held in a filthy one-room remote structure surrounded by woods. Bars covered the windows, but most of the glass was broken, leaving the building exposed to bugs and the oppressive Georgia heat. The stockade had one toilet that wouldn't flush. There was a shower head on the wall, but it only provided a trickle of water, and there was no soap. Finally, one day, after weeks of wondering whether anyone would come to help them, the girls shockingly noticed a white man standing by their window. Asked who he was by one of the girls, he told them his name was Danny Lyon, a 21-year-old photographer for the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. Danny spent weeks searching throughout the region for the missing girls. He had been assigned to find the stockade by James Foreman, the executive secretary of SNCC, who heard that black girls were locked up somewhere in the area. Lyon found his way to Lee County, where a black man at a funeral home serving as a movement headquarters explained where the girls were. They made a plan to distract the guard while Lyon took pictures, and that he took plenty. Soon after, Danny's images were published in Jet Magazine's September issue and brought national attention to the Leesburg Stockade girls. After 45 days, the girls were transported back to Americus and told they were free to go home. Upon their release, each of their parents were ordered to pay a $2 boarding fee for the use of the stockade as their holding cell. Freed on a Friday, the girls were back in school on Monday. No one asked where they had been or what happened to them, and from that moment on, they remained silent about what happened in the stockade, almost 6 decades ago. The history of the stolen girls represents the commitment of youth, and specifically African American girls, to the larger freedom struggles of the 1960s. And if you didn't know, now you know.